Oh, the Trump administration calling off informal talks with North Korea that were set for next month, canceling visas for 6 North Korean officials who were set to meet with former U.S. officials here in New York. The State Department's sudden reversal coming as Malaysian authorities say North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un's estranged half-brother was murdered in the Kuala Lumpur airport with the deadly nerve gas or chemical VX. The assassination perhaps a blunt and shocking message to the world from Pyongyang. So how should we now react? Ambassador John Bolton joins us, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, a Fox News contributor and chairman of the Gatestone Institute here in New York. Ambassador, what does it mean if North Korea brazenly killed Kim Jong-nam in cold blood, in public, with this type of horrifying operation?
Well, it shows exactly what kind of regime it is. It is a terrorist regime. It's a state sponsor of terrorism. The Bush administration made a terrible mistake in ever removing North Korea from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. Obama made 8 years of continuous mistakes not putting it back on the list. I think that's a minimum reaction from the United States now. You know, it's been estimated, this has been out in public, that North Korea may have thousands of tons of VX and other chemical and biological weapons as well. So while we don't know really what exactly induced Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, to assassinate his half-brother in Malaysia in public now, if you want to be completely frank about it, since North Korea will sell anything to anybody for hard currency, it serves as an advertisement for what North Korea's chemical capabilities are.
Well, let's talk about those thousands of tons of VX. It's suspected that the 2 young women both had VX in their hands, rubbed it on Nam's face. It could have been VX2, we're told, which are 2 separate compounds that they allegedly used that are inert separately, but you put them together, it becomes the deadly VX. Is it possible, Ambassador, that the North Koreans have already sent VX here? I say that because there's a UN office, the United Nations ambassador for North Korea. It's over here on 2nd Avenue. Can they do that by diplomatic pouch? Can they mail or send both separate elements separately to somebody, a sympathizer somewhere? How easily is this detected? Is it possible this could be a new terror tool used by Pyongyang against us?
Absolutely. Look, shipped appropriately, it would be difficult to detect, or if you want to do it the old-fashioned way and bring it across the Mexican border, that's another option. That's what I say. The North Koreans are desperate for hard currency, and whether it's selling nuclear technology or ballistic missile technology to other rogue states like Iran, or selling nuclear components or biological or chemical weapons to terrorist groups like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, that have dollars or euros, I have no doubt they're fully capable of doing it. So whether it's the North Koreans themselves, as apparently in this case in Malaysia, assassinating Kim Jong-un's half-brother, or whether they sell it to other terrorist groups or somebody buys it from them to distribute to terrorist groups, that possibility has been there. And although we often focus on nuclear weapons as the worst of the weapons of mass destruction, I think this assassination demonstrates that the palpable danger of these illicit chemical and biological capabilities is real and present across the world.
Do you think we can deter them? How can this be deterred? Do you think they got some in the cabinet right now? You know, over in the office a few blocks, you know, from here. I mean, look, when the Clinton administration gave them food and oil in exchange for them allegedly stopping the nuclear program, they didn't. You sanction them. Kim Jong-un then explodes nuclear devices and throws off more missiles.
Look, I don't put anything past the North Koreans. I'll just tell you what Secretary of State Colin Powell used to say when he had retired as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and was a civilian out giving speeches during the Clinton administration. He was sometimes asked, well, what happens if North Korea uses chemical or biological weapons against South Korea? And Secretary Powell would say, well, we would respond with nuclear weapons and we would turn North Korea into a charcoal briquette. I think that's the kind of talk you need to deter this regime. But when it's targeted against individuals rather than, say, against South Korea, when it's sold or distributed in ways that make it very hard to trace, there's a lot of interest in VX or sarin, which is another nerve agent out there, but might be very difficult to track back to North Korea. So terrorist groups, we know from what we found in the caves of Afghanistan that Al-Qaeda had longed to get these capabilities almost from its inception. hard to believe that ISIS doesn't have the same idea in mind. So if you think the terrorist attacks we've seen, which have surely been tragic all over Europe and the United States, 9/11 being the worst, imagine what would happen in a terrorist attack with a weapon of mass destruction.
Especially, as you note, there are thousands of tons, as you say, of VX in the North Korean arsenal. Ambassador John Bolton, always good to see you. Thank you, by the way, for your service to our country and in your past dealings with North Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course.